Hello and a very good morning.
Ma'am,
If you
good
can
morning.
see me and if you
Good
can
morning,
hear
ma'am.
me,
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
thank you so much.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
It's lovely seeing so many people out here.
Good morning,
So,
ma'am.
yeah, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Absolutely fine, ma'am.
Okay. So before I begin, may I just ask everyone to mute themselves?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
All right. So hello and a very good morning once again. I'm Anupama Bhargav. I'm a certified financial planner. I am the partner at BK Taxation and Investment LLP. I'm a writer, a financial strategist, and a money coach, wife of an army officer. I have over 15 years of experience of financial management. Today morning, it gives me great pleasure to be here and talk to you all wonderful people on this very, very important and relevant topic of financial management post-retirement. For post-retirement, many of you would want to follow your passion and pick up the job of your choice. For others, it would just be sit back, play a game of golf, take vacations, and many other similar things. The one thing which is common is that everybody is looking forward to have a good and enjoyable retirement. So recently I went on the internet and I saw a very, very interesting quote. It said something like, retirement is like a vacation at Vegas. The aim is to enjoy fully, but not so fully that you run out of money. Financial security or money is very important if one has to choose the kind of retired life that he wants to choose or wants to lead, or it would just be an ordinary retirement. Now, when you are retiring, the biggest concern would be to land up a very tax efficient pay package and also the investment of your retirement corpus. These are two biggest concerns. A lot of options are available, a lot of advice flows through. So that is why it creates confusion and it is difficult to choose what is most relevant. Now, while you might be retired already or you're going to retire soon, what is important is the investment of retirement corpus in a way that you are not only able to safeguard it against inflation and taxes, you want to have a little bit of growth on it. You want to have it enough to meet your cash flows or your financial goals. And you also want to ensure that there is some kind of a wealth creation. It's a tall order indeed. But what if I was to tell you that it is important and it is possible? So how many of you would be interested in knowing that how this works? If you are, then just type out in the chat box, yes or me. And I would know that how many people are actually interested in listening to this presentation. All right. Right, that is amazing. So here we go. Get set for this very interesting and very, very relevant presentation, which is really going to help you to take very conscious decisions and ensure that you have a very comfortable retired life. So as you sit back and as I lead you through this webinar, it has been really nice that a lot of questions have been coming to us, and I have structured them as part of the webinar, and I would answer most of them. But in case if I miss something out, please do answer here our question here in the comment box, and I would surely answer it. If you have any other questions along the way, please do not feel hesitant to ask, and it would be a great pleasure to answer all of these. So sit back while I share my presentation with you. Just give me half a second. Right. So let's begin by asking a simple one more question that I would like to ask you. Quickly, what kind of lifestyle you would want to lead post-retirement? Is it something which you are in control of? You want financial freedom? You want to lead the way, like trot around the world? What is it that you are thinking of? So quickly an answer in the comment box. That's what I'm looking at. All right. Someone says financial freedom, very relevant. How many of you would like to actually simple? Okay, that's very interesting. Simple. Yeah, that sums it up. We would want it to be simple and not complicated. Right. So when we talk about leading a retirement life on our own terms, one very important thing which is coming out is financial freedom. So when we want to do something like this, freedom of time and money, okay, least tax, ability to save and have constant revenue stream, wonderful. So the next question is can you lead your desired lifestyle on your pension alone? And if the answer is no, then friends, this is where we come in. And this is where I'm going to share a few things. The things that I'm going to cover today are going to be in 3 sections. Section 1 is going to be about the ones who are just about to retire. That is for future employment and cash flows. And of course, the investment of your funds. Section 2 is also for those people who are wanting to set up a passive source of income, right? They think that they need to set it up to augment the pension today or maybe sometime in the future. The third most important part is the tax management and the growing of and safeguarding wealth, which is even more important today. So going forward, what does the normal concerns that a retiree has is, this is just before retirement, is commutation. This is one question that many people have asked me, and I would like to answer it here. Well, to commute or not to commute? This is the million-dollar question before retirement. I would say that it depends on your choice completely. What is your situation? Like suppose, for example, that you do need a higher income coming onto you and you're not going to take up another alternate employment. Then obviously the pension will help, increased pension will help you to have augment your living expenses. If you have a disability pension, then also possibly it makes sense to not commute. So the reasons for not commute are actually less than the reasons for commute. And now I'm going to go in for that. Why should you commute? Number one, the commuted amount, that whatever you are going to commute, the 1/3 or half of it is going to be completely tax-free in your hands, which means around 50 lakhs rupees upwards, around that much amount of money is going to come to you as tax-free, which you have an option of investing right and then generating an alternate stream of income to augment your pension. Now, how to do that? That I'm going to tell you. The pension, on the other hand, is going to be taxable. So every time that you take pension, it's going to 30% of it may go as taxes. The second major reason why you should commute is that the present value of money is always more than the future. So as I said, if you're going to get 50 lakhs lump sum today, or you're going to get it broken down into smaller parts for the rest of your life, then the choice is yours, what you want to do with it. The third thing is that whatever you are, if you're going to take an alternate employment, then you do not need an extra pension amount coming to your bank account and then sitting in there and then generating more tax on it. So if you're not going to use it, then it might as well be better to not commute, right? So, to commute. The fourth reason is many people are worried that what will happen to their families after them. So be rest assured, in case if something happens to you and you want an extra source of income to come to your family in your absence, then the commutation gets restored after, in case of a death in a family pension case. So the choice finally depends on you. Our job is to tell you that what is the positive and the negative. So in case if you have any question on it, you can start posting on it and I will definitely answer. The second thing is that many people at the time of retirement would be retiring with a little bit of debt. Like they may have a home loan running, they may have some other kind of personal loans or a car loan. So the advice to that is a car loan or a personal loan can easily definitely be paid off. But a home loan can be taken a call on. So if you're going to, because home loan has a tax benefit, if you're going to take another job, then maybe you need that break, that a tax break that a home loan gives you. Moreover, a home loan is, if you factor in the tax benefits, is at a much lower rate. So even today, the loan is available at about 6.5%. If you factor in the tax benefit on it, then you can knock off 30% of it And what you get is a very cheap amount of a loan, of a money. So maybe you can consider keeping the home loan, provided you are in the middle of a cycle of a loan. If you're towards the end, it does not make sense to retain a loan. So every advice that comes to a person has got to be dependent on his individual status. Regarding a higher education loan, I met some of you who said that they're planning to do a course which requires for some money to be spent. If you're planning to do that, then it is worthwhile to actually take an education loan. That also gives you some tax benefits. Some of the other concerns what a retiree would have is that they have some financial goals to be met. Maybe they have to do up their houses. Maybe they have to buy a car. Maybe they have children to settle and similar things. The most important part is that they also have to manage taxes. Not till now, you have only one employer who would possibly be deducting appropriate tax on your income. But now you may have 1 or 2 or 3 places where the taxes are going to be deducted or TDS is going to be done. Now, when I talk about tax, a very interesting thing comes to my mind. The tax, if you must know, the incidence of tax is in 2 ways. One is on the income that you earn. So when you are planning to have an alternate employment or another job, then you have to consider that the tax saved is money saved. Now, how can you do that? One good way to do this is be a consultant. Now, if you're planning to take another job outside, a good option would be to become a consultant if you have some professional knowledge with you. Now, how does it help to be a consultant? If you become a consultant, almost 50% of your income can be knocked off as expenses, which means you will pay half the tax of what the other people are going to pay. So becoming a consultant, if when you are negotiating a salary package or a job for yourself, then it might make sense to actually see if you can become a consultant. If you can't become a consultant, then one more option is to restructure. So supposing you do have the control to negotiate and restructure your salary as per your requirement. Now, how can you do that? I have an illustration with you. Before going into it, mind it, this is just an illustration for purpose of explanation. Let's take this example and let's assume a person is going to retire and is going to have an income or package of say 36 lakhs. Now here the package is broken down into 2-3 parts. The one is basic salary. This is the house rent allowance, and then the transport and medical allowance and all those things are there. So if you go bottom, you see that the HRA exemption is about 3.6 lakhs and the rest is taxable. So which means his gross taxable income is about almost 33 lakhs. And after deductions, the taxes are, the tax on the income is around 7.8 lakhs. So this is a normal package that a person gets, is an offer. We feel very confident and we feel very happy that, yeah, see, I've got a 36 lakh package. But then in the end, you are carrying home much lesser. And that is what matters. So what can we do? Provided you do have a choice, a little small tweaking on your portfolio, on your CTC can help you to save more taxes. Now how? Now here, if you see, the HRA component has been reduced and the same money, the same package has been adjusted against other things like conveyance reimbursement, medical reimbursement, traveling allowance, and so on. So the exempt allowances here have gone up. They have gone up by 2.5 lakhs. And if you also go and plan that you will take more tax benefits, tax deductions, like medical insurance, NPS, a contribution to NPS, that is the new pension scheme. So your taxable income comes down a lot. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you do have a choice, rather than taking a transport allowance, it would be wiser to have a conveyance reimbursement. And similarly, having a medical allowance के बदले में आप एक medical reimbursement ले सकते हैं, जिसके अंदर अगर आप bills को produce करेंगे तो उतना आपके taxable income से कट जाता है. Of course, this all depends, again, I'm reiterating, on the package that you get. But now comes the deductions. This is in your hands. Taking a medical insurance, some people ask me this question that whether they should take a medical insurance if PCHS is there. Well, again, it's a personal choice. For me, I'm also a retired officer's wife. Sometimes I do feel that ECHS is a little cumbersome. But then on the flip side, it saves a lot of money for me. So it's a personal choice what you do. If you do take a medical insurance, then you do have a tax benefit. And if you have senior citizen parents, then this can go up to 75,000 rupees as rebatable. So the taxable income goes down. And of course, the taxes also go down by almost 1 lakh rupees. Now, as I said, it is not possible for everyone to get this. But being aware of what is possible definitely makes the task a little easier. Now, the second thing is, let me see, there are some questions if I can just answer them along the way. If you do not have any loan, health insurance, NPS, then new tax rate is better for you. Yeah, that is very true. Okay, that's the answer, please. Okay. Right, so the question has already been answered. Going forward, now when we talk about the investment of your retirement benefits, then the question now, this was the first part where there's an incidence of tax. The second part is that when we invest also, then also there is an incidence of taxation, and you obviously want to grow wealth. Now, before going forward, let us see what has changed in the investment world. Earlier, as Indians, we would generally invest into traditional investments like fixed deposits or postal schemes and real estate and similar things because we had more faith in it. But let's see what has happened to these in traditional investments in the last few years. Taking an example of a fixed deposit, this is an eye-opener kind of a thing. If you see in the last 10 years, 10 or 11 years, the fixed deposit rates have almost halved and have gone down to about below 5.3%. So this is what has happened to the fixed deposit, and I have not even taken the tax into account. So many times when we park our funds, we feel 5.3% sounds good. Let's go and put it there. But then we have not factored in the real rate of return. Now, what is this real rate of return? The real rate of return is the rate of interest that we get minus the inflation. So if you see, while the rate of interest has gone down consistently, the inflation, even if it has literally gone up. So which means that your real rate of interest, if you actually see, is less than 1%. And over a period of time, consecutively, if you have FDs which carry on for a longer period of time, then you will realize that the purchase power of money is actually slowly going down. Meanwhile, while this is happening to the fixed deposits, what has happened to the markets? When I see the Sensex, it has risen, it's become almost more than double in the last 5 years itself, taking investors' wealth to greater heights. And this has happened more so in the last 1.5 years or so. So in the 1.5 years only, we have actually gone down, gone up, and actually people have made a lot of money, which means that there are people sitting on two ends of the fulcrum. On one side, there are people who are become very greedy. They feel, oh, this is the way to make money. And they are investing into all kinds of investments, which they may not even understand, like maybe futures and options, cryptocurrencies, and so many options have now come in. On the other side of the fulcrum are people who are actually still scared. They are saying, bhai, itna to badh gaya. Ab abhi enter karne se, what's the point? So people are asking the question, what next? Kya karna hai? Now, before we go to what next, we have to, as I said those earlier, as I said, what we need to see, the other things which are changing is a higher tax for post-retirement. I have already covered this portion. Once you retire, there would be multiple sources of income and multiple deduction of TDS. So which means some places the TDS may not be deducted completely and you will end up paying interest over the tax due. So that is one thing which is changed post-retirement. The fourth thing which has changed is the regulatory changes. Now, earlier, a lot of investors would invest into higher dividend-paying stocks and mutual funds. But today, remember that this dividend is taxable as per your tax slab. There is no rebate on it. And not even that, it is being reflected in your tax information summary. So the taxman knows that you have invested into a dividends-paying stock and the tax will be deducted. Even TDS will be deducted and you'll have to pay more. The last but not the least, multiple options. Too many options available, and one is really spoiled for choices. But what can they do? What should one invest in? So now, before going in, what should one invest in? Let us understand the question that why do we invest? Unless we understand this very important part, that why are we investing, it is very difficult to choose a good investment option for ourselves. So many people would invest for their financial goals, as I had brought out earlier. Some would invest just to set up a regular stream of income. And many would only invest so that they are able to create some kind of wealth. So let's do a little bit of mathematics. If you're trying to create a cash flow for yourself, let's take one more illustration. Let's assume that you retire today, right? And you have a monthly expense per month of 1 lakh rupees. You perceive that you're going to spend this much. Out of this, maybe 60,000 will come from your pension and about 40,000 is still a shortfall. Now this 40,000 is today. If I put inflation into account, and let's assume that you're going to work for the next 10 years. So after 10 years, the inflated shortfall monthly expenses would be around 71,000. That means the pension will continue to grow at, you do get a DA on it, but your monthly expenses, which were the shortfall, will still grow up to about 71,000. So 10 years hence, instead of 40,000, you will spend about 71,000 or so in your monthly expense. Assuming that a person lives till the age of 85 years, how much corpus should a person have after 10 years so that they are comfortably able to lead the rest of their life for 25 years? That this corpus grows up to about 2.15 crore, inflated at the rate of the current inflation rate, and it is inflation adjusted for the rest of your life. So if you have 2.15 crore after 10 years, then you are good to retire. Again, the next thing is, if today we have a corpus of 1 crore and we invest it in a FD or any other instrument which is giving us a short return of 6%, then this corpus only grows to about 1.8 crore, leaving a shortfall of 35 lakhs. Now this 35 lakhs has to come to us at some point of view, at some point of time, and we need to figure out what is this required rate of investment that I should invest it today, this 1 crore, so that I have another corpus ready for my next retirement, which is actual retirement when you stop working. Now, this mathematics applies to all kinds of investments that we have. When we invest towards a reason or a cause, then we must know that how much we need. And this is how you can actually back work on most of your goals. This is what our financial planning or an investment plan is all about. To invest in, to plan in such a manner that you're comfortable for the rest of your life. So what should be this required rate of investment? Now, before going into that, let's take one more illustration. So, as I said, many people come to us, by my experience tells me that many retirees would rather have a very safe investment. And they do not mind putting this money into a fixed deposit. They tell us that by return kam aa jaye, no problem, lekin it should be safe. So assuming that you have put your 1 CR corpus in a 5.3% current rate of fixed deposit, the growth on this corpus would be around 30 lakhs in a period of 5 years. The total gain here is, after income tax has been deducted, is about 20 lakhs. So post-tax return is just 3.65%. Now we have not taken inflation into account here. We are just assuming that the inflation remains constant and my requirement of funds also remains constant, right? So this is what a general person would do. They do not realize this, but in the longer run, this is what the return that they get. So let's make a few changes. Let's curate this portfolio, or let's tweak it a little bit. Now, when I tweak it, I have a sudden increase of almost 13.33% on my corpus. And now I have about 50 lakhs of gain. The taxation is also lower because I have put it into schemes which are more tax efficient. I put it into debt mutual funds, I put it into mutual funds, I put it into some bonds. So what has happened in the end is that even after paying taxes, I have more than double than what I gained in an FD. So this is what a person needs to work on. How are you going to increase your post-tax returns and post-inflation returns? So this is what a person should focus on, rather than seeing that which investment is going to give me the highest return today. Having said that, it's not so easy. There are too many, too many things which are actually going to take us away from this more concentrated or focused kind of goal. So what are these things? Other than inflation and tax, the other thing which takes us away, or the enemies of wealth creation, are FOLO, or FOLO, fear of losing out. Now, what is this? Most of us as human beings, it's not everyone's fault, but this is how we are made. We are scared of losses. So if we have made a gain somewhere, even if that gain goes down a little bit, then also we feel a little upset. So many people stay on the sidelines because they don't want to lose out. They stay on the sidelines, do not enter into equity markets or higher paying return investments. They wait for the right time, and they possibly wait forever. They are the ones who actually enter when the others are selling out and getting out. And when they try to enter, the markets are already high. And then when it starts falling, they say, oh, this is not suiting me. And finally, they also exit when the market has already gone down. So that is how they lose money. So this is one fear which keeps many people away from wealth creation. The second is fear of missing out. Now, these are the people who are on the other side of the spectrum. They always have this feeling that, I need to make the best use of my investments. What should I do? How should I optimize my returns? So they look for more and more. They ask for more and more exotic products. They ask for like, okay, should I invest into so-and-so IPO which has come in? Should I put into alternate investment vehicles? There are many things today in the market which are there, which we do not even understand. End result, we again lose money. So I do know of so many people. One officer, recently he retired from the Air Force about 8 months ago. He listened to our advice and he invested into whatever we told him. He distributed his assets perfectly well within debt, equity. He did everything by the book, what I said. Along the way, just 8 months had passed and these IPOs came out. He came to me and he said, let me redeem most of my mutual funds and let me redeem my bonds. I want to invest into this IPO. I told him, don't do it. You may not get the IPO firstly, and secondly, it's not very good to upset whatever you have thought about and invested. He did listen. He sold my investments before 1 year. He incurred long-term capital gain tax. He had an exit load. He lost out on his whatever gains he had made in the last 1 year. And then he was back when he did not get the IPO at a time when the markets were already high. So I brought out this investment just so that we understand that how important it is to even protect your downside. So a good investment is not where you are going to get good returns. A good investment is one where your downside is also protected equally. It's very important to protect your downside. So protect your risk, to manage your risk. And that is why a well-managed portfolio is important, and it helps us to achieve this. So, but then friends, what is this well-managed portfolio? ये होता क्या है? कैसे बनना चाहिए? And this is what I think many people want to know, कि करना क्या चाहिए, right? So without wasting some more time on it, after we have clarified most of the basics, let me go into एक portfolio क्या होना चाहिए. But उसके पहले हमें समझना पड़ेगा ये equity क्या होता है, ये debt क्या होता है. Equity and debt are asset classes, along with many other asset classes like alternate things like gold or real estate. But equity and debt are the major classes. Now, what you need to do is, as you retire, or if you have some money to invest, in either cases, the first thing you need to do is protect yourself, to have a strong base, just like this triangle. And that happens by having some income, have funds which are there for your capital preservation. So almost 40 to 45% of your money should go in these bottom two sections of this triangle. That is the income generation and the capital preservation. So you can say about 45 to 50% needs to go here. Of course, it depends on what is your individual requirement, which I'll come to later. But generally, as a thumb rule, you can stick to this. So once you have strengthened your base, you have created an emergency corpus for yourself in a bank FD or a liquid fund. You have managed to put aside some money for your, capital is preserved. Then you should not shy away from equity as well. Now, this equity could be in the form of shares. It could be form of mutual funds. For me, I feel mutual funds are a little better if you do not have experience over shares. But if you do have, then also a little amount of money can be put aside for shares, but the rest should go to mutual funds. They help you to multiply your wealth, and also there is some kind of a capital growth for future. This triangle also talks about something like a low to medium risk, 1 to 3 years. Maybe you would have some questions regarding that. This depends that if you have a requirement of funds in the near term, then you should still stick to debt. But if you do not need the money in the near term, then you can go definitely towards the equity side. So as I said, it finally depends on what a person's individual requirements are. Right? So without knowing but what are these instruments, we cannot take a decision. So let's talk about what are the available options. The first and foremost, in the lower portion, the income protection and the capital protection schemes are the deposit schemes, the various deposit schemes where you can put your money, expect a assured return to you, and also expect your corpus to be safe. Number one for retirees is Senior Citizen Savings Scheme. Now, despite the name Senior Citizen, it is applicable to most of the people or most of the retirees up to 3 months from their retirement date or 1 month of the receipt of their retirement benefits, whichever is earlier. What is this scheme? This gives you about 7.4% assured return, which is paid out quarterly to you. So while it can augment your pension, it also helps you to, have a higher return than any other deposits which will give. That is 7.4%. Remember, but this instrument is taxable. Contrary to what people think that it is not taxable, there is going to be a TDS as well as there is going to be a taxation on it. The second most popular scheme which people ask us is monthly income scheme. Now, these two schemes are run by the banks and the post office. So you can go do it from either place. Monthly income scheme gives a returns of about 6.6%. Again, it is taxable, but it gives you a monthly return. So any of you who is a senior citizen who was listening here, he's already retired for some time. Possibly this is one of the best schemes to invest your money in with safety, security, and the sovereign guarantee of the government. So when I said that you have to distribute your assets into debt and equity, possibly in the debt side, the Senior Citizen Savings Scheme is the best. Monthly income scheme depends. Do you really need the regular return? If you do need the regular return, then it possibly is good. Otherwise, 6.6% return is a little low for any purpose. Other than this, there is NSCs or KVPs, but they all would give a return between 6 to 7% in between that, plus a higher lock-in and also taxability. Now, the Senior Citizen Savings Scheme has a lock-in for 5 years, and it is the ultimate maximum money that you can put here is 15 lakhs. Now comes the PPF. The PPF is like a blood brother of your DSOP. It has a lock-in for 15 years though, which is a negative. It gives a return of 7.1%, which is going to be tax-free. So out of all these schemes that we just spoke about, possibly this scores well on the taxation part, but then you can only put 1.5 lakhs here. So friends, one has to think that if you can put money for 15 years, then PPF is a good option. You can even open it for your family members and your children. You can go ahead and do that. The next is a company deposit, which is more flexible in terms of your time horizon. A company deposit gives higher return than fixed deposits. It will give a return between 6 to 7% again, depending on how much rating it enjoys. So here, a word of caution. Invest into only those deposits which are going to be rated, which are rated, AAA rated. Don't get lured by the promise of a return, higher return, because higher return, the debt is not supposed to give you a higher return. The higher return has to come from equity. So here, security of money is more important. So out of this slide, I would recommend that a person should definitely go for Senior Citizen Savings Schemes and the PPF and maybe the company deposit, because it gives you liquidity. Moving forward, what are the other schemes that we can invest into? The bonds. Now, again, there was a question regarding bonds. Many people are interested today in bonds because the deposits don't give us good returns and we are looking for bonds. Even the government of India has announced that they are going to raise capital through bonds. This was announced last year, and again this year, they are going to raise capital, which means more and more bonds are going to come out. These are attractive because these are giving, some of them give tax-free returns, but they are available only in the secondary market. One has to go have a demat account, one has to give a request to buy a bond, and once it gets available, then only you can buy it. These bonds could be of various types like PSU bonds, corporate bonds, tax-free bonds, and the return that you might get here is anything from 5% to about 7%. Again, beware. It requires expertise, it requires professionalism to actually choose a perfect bond for you. You have to go into the depth of it and see that what is the level at this bond is selling at. What is the rating of these bonds? This is very important. One very secured bond is the Government of India bonds, or they sometimes loosely call it RBI bonds. These are also available, and they give assured return of about 7.151% right now. Again, taxable, but so out of all these products, only the tax-free bonds will give you a tax-free return, but they come at a premium. The others are all going to give you taxable returns. The Government of India bonds have a lock-in for 7 years. A good option if again you are thinking long-term. So out of your debt baskets, anything that you think that you want to put it for long-term, possibly we can consider one of these things. But then please beware, don't pick up bonds just randomly. Because like in equity markets, you may lose your return, but here you will lose the entire corpus if you're not careful. Going forward, mutual funds. Again, I had many questions on this as well. Many people wanted to know what are the different types of mutual funds, what is the mutual fund which you should choose. I would say there are a number of mutual funds. I've just listed a few here. It's not possible to list everything out here. Amongst the categories also, there are 4,500 mutual fund schemes which are running today. It's very difficult to choose which is the best one. So how do you choose? If you are planning to go for the debt side, the debt space, the debt mutual funds score over gains marginally, but phenomenally on the tax efficiency. If you can keep a debt mutual fund for 3 years, then it becomes, it is eligible for indexation, and you will get a lower tax outgo on this. On the equity side, there are large cap, mid caps, flexi caps. One has to choose as per their requirements. I will come to this later, and to choose to talk more about mutual funds and the various types of mutual funds, possibly I'll have to take another webinar. So if you are interested, we'll talk about it later. It's not possible to cover everything out here. There is one middle category which is very attractive these days, which balances out your risk but gives you better returns. These are the hybrid funds or the asset allocator funds, the dynamically managed funds, the balanced advantage funds. These give you a return between about 8 to 10%, and the equity can give you a return up to 20% as well. So one has to be careful, and one has to choose as per whatever is most suited to them. The next asset class would be gold. How do you invest into gold? Now, gold is something which is beaten inflation generally most of the times. Sometimes, surprisingly, it has also happened that it could not even meet the inflation rate. Okay, we leave that aside for now. But again, this is a question how to invest into gold. So you can invest gold into physically, like we know, we can go to a jeweler and buy it, bars and coins. But that is not a very flexible and a very attractive option. The best would be to go for a sovereign gold bond. Now, these are again by the government. There's a lock-in or a tenure of 8 years maturity. They give you a 2.5% return annually, and also they have a capital appreciation at the end of the tenure. So whatever the value of gold at that time, you will get paid at that cost. Now, if you want more flexibility, you don't want to stay on for 8 years, then you can possibly go for a gold ETF or a gold mutual fund, which are more attractive and more liquid. That means you can trade them anytime you want. Similarly, if you want to invest into, I'm digressing a little bit, but if suppose you want to invest into foreign markets, you want to invest into those, FANGs kind of stocks like Apple, Facebook, these kind of stocks, then also you can take a mutual fund route and invest it there. So gold is, if one has to invest into gold, then possibly this is one way. Now we spoke about investments, but the question still remains how to choose. Some people ask this question to me when they registered, that what is the best way to distribute your funds into different assets? Now, there is so much of information available. So you may know which is the best investment option, but you do not know which is more suited to you. You may know that you have this much amount of money to invest, but you do not know how much to put where, how to distribute it. So the first thing one needs to do is take a paper and a pencil. When we do it, there is a risk profiling that we do. You can also do it online, risk profiling for yourself. See in which risk category you are. Don't get swayed by whatever your friend is doing. It may not suit you. So first thing is to ascertain your risk profile and then create a portfolio for yourself. The next one is, does it suit your investment horizon? I've already spoken about it. It's long-term or short-term or medium-term. Accordingly, choose an investment option. And last but not the least, does it help you to meet your financial goals? So here is where that some kind of a financial planning is important. So I spoke in my beginning of my presentation that passive sources of income. Now, these are good for people who are senior citizens, who are retiring, who have just retired, and who have long retired. For everyone, this passive source of income is a very important aspect. Now, in the near term, for the people who are just retiring and in the middle of jobs, planning to take another job, they would need passive income just to augment their living expenses for now. For many of you, maybe the pension may not start in the near future. It will take 2 or 3 months, especially if you are premature retiring. So passive sources of income people generally understand by is कि भाई मेरे पास 1 करोड़ रुपए हैं, मुझे कम से कम इतने पैसे चाहिए, ये ऐसे, this is what people come and tell me. Now we have to understand and face the reality that assured return, when you talk about assured income, then you talk about assured return. And assured return today is not more than 5%, as we said on the bank FD. So if at the rate of 5.5% on a 1 crore amount, you will generate about 5.5 lakhs, out of which, if you have got pension also, you will be in the 30% bracket, then you will possibly lose some money to taxes. I'm not going to discuss about the new regime and old regime right now, because again, going into it will complicate things. So assuming that you're choosing the old regime, 30% of it will go into your taxes, which means you will get a lot lesser. So if you try to say that I want 8 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees per month on a corpus of 1 crore, is not possible. If you say like that to an advisor, they're only going to come out with schemes which are going to risk your overall corpus. So don't do it. So does it mean that we do not have any option and we have to stick to what we have? The good news is no, we do have other options. Now, sharing a few examples here. Let's take an example that you do have a curated portfolio, like I said in the beginning. We use mutual funds to help us to generate, not only create returns, but also establish a source of passive income. So taking an example, suppose you have 1 crore and you've invested it into a basket of, say, some mutual funds. It could be debt, it could be equity. You can do it through the SIP route if you have monthly surpluses, or if 1 crore is there, then through the STP route or the systematic transfer route. Once you invested 1 crore, you invested. Let's see what happens after 10 years. After 10 years, this grows to about 2.15 CR at a very conservative return of about 7 to 8%. I have not taken too much risk. We have just put the rate of interest at this much. If you can take risk, the corpus would be much higher. Now, what one person can do after 10 years is establish a source of income for the next 15 years at a rate of 1.25 lakhs per month. This is through the third very important tool of mutual fund, that is SWP, or systematic withdrawal plan. Now, when you establish a systematic withdrawal plan, this can be established after 5 years, after 2 years, even in just now. this is just an example, but you can actually establish it at any time that you are feeling that you need some income coming to you. Advantage, if you can give it a time to grow for a period of time, then the corpus becomes larger, the systematic withdrawal amount becomes larger. So you have to give it time to grow. If you ask for a SWP right now, then possibly you will only eat into your corpus, which is also okay. To an extent, that's also fine. Why? The taxation is much lower than it would be on a return that you get from a fixed deposit or a bond or similar instrument. Here, you will pay taxes only at the rate of 10%. Makes it more attractive. So this is one illustration that a person can do. The second illustration, the second way to do it is distribute your investments or your corpus into 3 parts. The first part would be something which we call it the cash bucket. This is for someone who is saying that we want the cash flow to start immediately. Hame abhi chahiye paise. So as I said, if you don't give it time to grow, then we cannot take out from the gains. It's impossible. So one way was to put the entire corpus at 5.5% and continue to take the return for maybe 10, 15, 20 years. At the end of it, your corpus remains as it is. You've eaten up all the returns and there's no wealth creation, right? The other way is to distribute it into ascertain how much you want. Now, how do you ascertain? Whatever money you think you need, उसमें से आप माइनस करिए अपना पेंशन और दूसरे इनकम सोर्सेस सबको माइनस करने के बाद जो बच गया उस पैसे को आप 4 साल का जो पैसा है उसको आप एक तरफ अलग एक बास्केट में रख सकते हैं. This could be in liquid and short-term funds. It could be savings bank account. It could be fixed deposits. Of course, best would be short-term funds because of the taxability. But even fixed deposits are fine for it. तो some may say ये तो corpus ही खत्म हो जाएगा. आप ये क्या बात कर रही हैं? We will lose our corpus. So we are talking only about 20 to 25% of your corpus, which can go here as per your requirement. So it's okay. Even if you consume it, the second and the third bucket would make sure that you are left with much more than what you have eaten up from your corpus. So the second bucket would be the income generation bucket. Now this would be feeding you for the next 4 to 10 years. So once you have taken care of the 4 years, then comes the bucket where you have put your money into equity mutual funds, which could be large cap, hybrid funds, and flexi caps. Don't think of putting money here into mid caps and sector funds. Maybe you can think of not putting it here. Then there is the postal schemes and the bonds. Now, what ideally happens is, right. So what ideally happens is that whatever income that you have consumed in the first bag, the second bag would augment after 4 years, right? So in the second bag, you can put about 45 to 50% of your corpus, which can easily go here. The third bucket would be the third basket would be the one which you do not need at least till 10 years. On here, you can put, this is the growth basket where you are going to grow your money. So the balance 30% which is left can go here. And believe me, this basket is going to create much more wealth to augment not only or catch on or not only on the cash which you have used in the first 4 years, but also keep refilling the second bucket. Now it sounds more simple than actually it is. It sounds very simple. Just distributed 20% here, 50% here, 30% here. And one would say, okay, we are done, we are sorted out. But it's not so simple. The problem comes that markets are not going to follow a timetable. It is not going to happen that we have expected the second basket to grow at 8% and it will grow at 8%. It may not happen like that. It may happen that it might go higher or it may go lower. It might also happen that you have created a lot of wealth, but there is a black swan event and you've lost all money. When you are just about to, in the 5th year, you're about to transfer. So it's not so easy to do it. There are technicalities involved, but you need to keep rebalancing it. You need to keep a track of it. Keep track of your investments, and then only you can achieve complete freedom from, uncertainty. So how can a person make sure that whatever they need and whenever they need it is coming to them? So here comes the role of investment planning. Now, what is this investment planning? This is a very basic design that I make because that is what people perceive investment planning is. They think, kya hai? Investment planning, what is there? Just put some financial assets में थोड़ा डाल देंगे, थोड़ा real estate में डाल देंगे, थोड़ा कोई insurance वाला आएगा उसमें डाल देंगे and done. Well, investment planning is not so simple. It is a more complicated kind of an exercise, and the faster people understand that, the better it would be. What does the investment planning actually mean? From budgeting, that means ensuring that how much money you should spend, how should you manage your cash flows, to ensuring that risk is managed, that means the downside risk is managed, to ensuring that your debts are how much loans to take, how to manage them, and also the wills or leaving your estate to your children. Everything is a part of the investment or a financial planning process. And the biggest and the most important, emotional management. It's very important for an investor to manage his emotions, because if you are investing with emotions, it will never give you returns. One more thing which is important is the tax planning. I have been speaking all along my webinar about importance of saving taxes. It should not be ignored. So after retirement, a few things have changed on the tax front as well, as I had mentioned earlier. Let's have a quick recap on what has happened and how can we manage it. First thing is you should choose your tax savings judiciously. जितने भी tax saving आपको available है, अगर वो NPS available है तो आपको वो लेना चाहिए. New pension scheme is a good option. You can invest here 50,000 rupees and you can possibly save taxes up to 15,000 rupees. The second is restructure your salary if you do have an option. If you do not, then well, we will think of other ways to cut down on your taxes. When you are investing, since you are retiring with the larger corpus, or if you are one of those who has funds which are invested into instruments जहाँ पे tax ज़्यादा जा रहा है, तो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप इसको tax को बचाएं. आप tax efficient investments को choose करना बहुत mandatory है. So जो भी investment आपको ज़्यादा tax efficient investments दे, वहाँ पे ज़रूर invest करना चाहिए. So choose a debt fund over a savings bank or a fixed deposit. You should make use of the LTCG benefit. Government gives us benefits, gives us a facility to set off our gains against losses. You can have a gain of 1 lakh rupees per annum tax-free from equity shares and equity mutual funds. You can use it to manage your gains and your returns. Then indexation benefit is available that one must take. And lastly, pay advance tax. Now, advance tax is something which is new for many people right now. They may not be paying advance tax right now because tax is being deducted by your employer. But now that you will have multiple sources of income, maybe they are not going to deduct adequate tax, which means you will pay extra interest. Advance tax is to be paid 4 times in a year, and it could be in the month of June, September, December, and March. All you have to do is ascertain your estimated income, put in all the, deduct all the deductions, and then calculate the tax and pay a percentage of that every quarter. This will ensure that extra tax does not go out of your income. Right, coming to my last section. I'm much in time, I guess so. Safeguard and grow your wealth. Now, many times we invest because someone else has told us that this is a good product and we should be invested there. Never do that. See if it suits you, then only invest there. Sticking to an asset allocation means if your risk appetite does not permit you to go more towards equity, then please do not. And whenever you find that the equity markets have gone up, then it is time to rebalance. So actually, as they say, that you must sell when the equity is high, which is little difficult to do, and buy when the equity is low. Generally, people do the opposite. Remember, there's nothing free. Free is actually expensive. This applies to mostly to insurance schemes. Many times we are told that insurance is free with it. Please go and invest it here. Be careful. Nothing comes free. Many of you would ask for regular returns. When you go to your advisor, you're going to definitely say कि regular return बताओ, अभी चाहिए मुझे इतना चाहिए. So remember, it comes at a cost of compounding. So it is not free. When you are investing into shares or mutual funds, remember, you are not a trader. You are an investor. And it makes sense to choose good stocks or good mutual funds, hold on to them for a period of time, and then you will see your gains becoming more. More money today is lost to taxes and transaction costs than anything else. So you must try to reduce that. Lastly, I found a very interesting forward on one of the WhatsApp group, which I would love to share with you. This is just a forward sent by somebody who is possibly selling an insurance plan. Possibly, I'm 100% sure. I would like to share this with this group, if with permission of everyone. Now, this is a part of the WhatsApp group message which has come. Invest rupees 2.5 lakhs in a pure stock fund. Last 1 year return 39%. Imagine, who will give us 39% return? Then it says 5-star rated tax-free fund. There is nothing called a 5-star rated tax-free fund at all. This is a possibly a ULIP जिसके ऊपर उनका एक fund है जिसके अंदर ऐसा return आ रहा है. Then this person has also roped in Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to give credibility to what he's saying. What he's saying is credible, but how he's saying is wrong. Everybody is today allowed to save taxes up to 2.5 lakhs in a family. There's nothing new about it. So there's more to this. Let me get the other part. Yeah. Then they say that you will get a rebate under section 80C and 1010D. Now, whenever this 1010D comes, please remember, and you should understand that this is a insurance linked plan. So first you have to ascertain, do you need insurance? At your stage, do you need insurance? If you take insurance, remember it's not free. There's going to be a cost to it, right? So if somebody is telling you that this kind of a plan is there, you have to become really, really careful. And then there is a feeling of urgency which is created in this message, which I find the most interesting. It is advisable to get this done at the earliest, as if koi train chhut jayegi. And this works on our emotions. When something is told to us ki sab log kar rahe hain, jaldi kar lo, we don't waste our time and we just jump into it. The effect of this will be known sometime later. So remember that when you are investing, this example was a very good one, precise one to actually bring out what I wanted to say. So if you are confused that what to choose, how to choose, if you are not able to take a call on when to stop your SIPs, whether you should liquidate your FDs and invest into a particular investment, should you invest into crypto, it would be good to actually take the help of an advisor. They can help to control your emotions, help to answer your questions. If you have experience, then maybe you are the best judge to manage your money. But if you do not have the experience, and more importantly, if you do not have the time, then maybe an advisor is a good bet. The next thing that people ask me is how to choose an advisor. Well, that again depends on your personal needs. But guidelines, you should choose a person who inspires trust. Anyone who's not inspiring trust in you is not worth your time. So first thing is, if you have a one-to-one meeting, you see that the trust is being, you are trusting that person or not. This, of course, comes with references. If references are coming to you, then that means a person has already reposed his trust in a person, and that is why they are recommending you. So it would be worthwhile to even take help of your friends. Then the experience and the qualifications. Today, everybody calls themselves an advisor. How many people are there who are actually going to work in your benefit and actually are advisors with qualification wise? How much experience they have? Then comes the technical support. Now, in today's time, most of us are too busy with our work. We want somebody else to take care of our investments. We want somebody else to guide us when to buy, sell. We want someone else to help us to take advantage of the rising or the falling markets. In this case, the technical support is really important. What kind of support is available? What kind of research processes are there? You must ask this question. How is a person recommending you a particular stock or a particular fund or a particular bond? So what kind of research are they doing? So that is important. So the questions to ask an advisor is not kahan invest karu. Questions to ask an advisor is aap kaise hame help karte hain? And that is what you must ask an advisor. Right. This brings me an end to whatever I wanted to say. I hope many of your questions are answered. The rest of the questions, let me have a look if I may. And you can continue to ask me. This is the time when questions will be answered. Okay, a question is, which taxation regime is beneficial, new or old? Now, this depends on what kind of tax rebates you are taking, what kind of income you are going to generate. It depends from person to person. But generally, if you have just a home loan and you do not are not taking, and you have you do not have any other savings like medical insurance and NPS, then possibly the new regime might turn out to be better, but after calculations. For the ones who are taking benefits under the ATC, have opened a PPF account and all that, then right, is that a question? Okay, no. Right, so are gold sovereign bonds better option? Yeah, I've already answered that question. Definitely they are better, because given that they will give you a return of 2.5% per annum. Okay.
Pankaj Kumar, could you please mute?
Ma'am, will this webinar be available on YouTube? Yes, it will be available. We'll put the recording later. Right now, it is being live streamed on Facebook as well, possible on our page. You can go and subscribe. The links are being shared. You can go and subscribe to our page on Facebook. You can subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Again, the link is being shared. This will be put in there. And right now, live streaming is still going on. Throw some light on real estate versus other investment plans. Well, interesting questions. I'm glad that this has been asked. See, again, this is one of the traditionally what we have understood, what we have been trained to do, that if we have more money, we should definitely go in for a real estate. And when you retire with a corpus, there is definitely a charm to invest some portion of it in a plot of land or a real estate, property. It depends on what you want. If you're taking it for yourself to live in, then you should definitely go in for it. But if you are planning to invest it, remember that a real estate cycle is the longest. It is almost 10 years. The last real estate gains were made in the year 2003 to 2013. And after that, it consistently continued to not perform so well. Now it has started, green shoots are seeing visible. Now we are trying, it shows some kind of growth. Imagine but sitting on a real estate project for 10 years to get a decent return on it. Today, the returns on a residential property are 2.5% as rentals and about 5 to 6% on a commercial property. So it's a personal cause. There's a loss of liquidity. I would suggest that having one house to live in and another to generate a kind of a source of income, that is all you need. You do not need to put anything else into a real estate because of the factor that large sums of money are involved and liquidity is a concern. Please share idea about passive source of income, right? I will share it to you privately in case if you let me know how much you need. That is, you have Mr. Pankaj Kumar, you can send it to me how much you want personally, and we will definitely work it out for you. Should one go for direct mode for mutual fund or through an ARN, keeping view the commissions, right? Again, something which you have to personally, you have to decide. If you are comfortable, if you are well versed with the market movements, if you can manage your risk, your behavior of this, fear and greed, then yes, you should go yourself. You can put it into a direct scheme. Remember, but when you put it through a demat account, it is not direct, contrary to what many people feel. Yeah, I will just allow you to speak. Just let me finish this question, answer, then I will definitely allow you to speak. So, so the point is that if you can do that on your own, then you must choose the direct schemes or mutual funds. They are more beneficial. The NAVs are definitely a little higher and the returns may be also higher in the longer term. But remember that advisory matters. So if you are one of those who does not have time and would invest once into direct schemes, then maybe you will not be able to achieve your goals. As a example, in 2020, when there was a crash, the maximum people who got out of mutual funds were the ones who had invested through Paytm on their own. They could not manage. But the ones who had invested through advisors maintained and remained with their investments, and in the longer run, they created more wealth. So it's a personal choice. Definitely, there will be a difference in the returns. As far as the commissions are concerned, if an advisor is going to advise you on direct schemes, then he will still charge you, he or she will still charge you this amount of money. So as I said, don't look for free advice, because when there is a free advice, somebody will take advantage of you. So rather, it's better to pay even if you are investing through a direct scheme. Please share about the sovereign gold bond. Okay, that I've already done. Right. So, Mr. Jain, you can please speak. I don't know your rank. I'm sorry, because rank is not coming. So I should be excused on that.
I'm a group captain. So
Okay, group captain,
that
great.
doesn't matter, ma'am.
No, it does. It does. Rank always matters.
My question is very peculiar. That's why I couldn't put it on chat.
Yeah, okay.
I have a house which was not rented from April to September. In October, I rented that house. Now, when I filled my return for the next year, since there was no advance tax in June or September, I didn't know whether my house will go on rent or not. So the rental income was only from October to March, but they have charged me interest for June quarter also and September quarter also on the advance tax which I should have paid. So what can I do about that?
They have charged tax on what? Agar rental the, nahi to fir why will they charge?
When I filled the when I filled the return, so from October to March, there was an income, rental income. So that they have distributed amongst 12 months, and they said that June also and September also you should have paid advance tax. Whereas
June and which September? The last year or the
last year, financial years. Financial years. So they have automatically, because it's a software, so it has calculated the tax which I have paid later. Which I paid in December, 15 December and 15 March. It has taken that, and then for 6 months and 3 months, it has charged me interest for 1/4.
All right.
What can be done about it?
Can I have a look at your return? If you can mail it to me on our email ID.
Right, I'll do that.
Can I have a look at it? Let me see exactly why they have charged you. And then definitely I will get back to you. Our email ID, if someone can from my team can type it in the chat box. Is that all?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Okay. The next question that I have is, provided you do not have any medical emergencies, which will begin. Okay, no, that's not a question. Okay. Yeah, any more questions?
We can invite questions from the participants now that you have finished. Now we have questions in the chat box coming, ma'am.
Yeah.
One is from Kanupriya. Yeah.
What's cheaper, investment through DMAT or through an advisor? Advisors charge as per investment or fixed monthly charges. Do charges are made on DMAT as per investment? Okay. Firstly, as I said, please understand that DMAT per se is not necessarily not through an advisor. When you invest, for example, through ICICI Direct, then the ICICI Direct is the advisor. So what is more important than choosing a DMAT? Because it's the same thing. If you invest through a DMAT or an advisor, just the same thing. Only thing what makes a difference is a direct and a regular scheme. So if you are choosing a direct scheme, then whether you go through a DMAT or an advisor is just the same thing. Second is advisors charge as per investment or fixed monthly charges. Advisors can charge on the basis of on the different kind of formats they have. Some of them charge on the corpus, some of them take a percentage of your gain as well. They say कि okay, इतना तो हम charge करेंगे, इसके ऊपर जो percentage gain आप like 10% I promise you, 10% के ऊपर 11%, 12% होगा तो उसका percentage मैं ले लूँगा. इसके अलावा simple systems भी हैं जहाँ पे they might charge you 0.6% to 0.5% to 0.8% of your invested corpus. Nobody charges on the basis of investment per se, but fixed monthly charges can also be there. It again is very, very versatile and different. Okay, someone is asking, they are retiring next year. How do I contact for investment solutions, tax planning? Okay, I would suggest that you should contact us immediately through maybe dropping us a mail or contacting us through one of our social media platforms. My phone number is also being has also been flashed onto the chat box. You can ring us up. It's better to get in touch with us as early as possible so that we can even streamline your finances even before you retire. My pleasure. Any other questions? So while I wait for the question, there was one question which was asked by some short service people, some short service officers who are not eligible for pension. They asked a question that is it possible for us to, how do we like generate a source of income when in the absence of a pension? First thing is, since you are young, you are retiring early, do set up an NPS. Open an NPS, you will get a tax advantage, and open some mutual fund SIPs, which will help you to generate a corpus for later. Right now, for augmenting whatever corpus you've got, think of that bag strategy or the bucket strategy that I spoke about.
Yeah, we have one more question, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning to you.
Ma'am, Radhavendra here. I think you mentioned that the defense officers can invest into senior citizen savings scheme. I think after 2017, there is some age limit on that also. It is only available for people above 50 years of age, not before that. So it's not open to all defense pensioners now.
No, it's not like that. It is available still for people who are retiring, and we have people who are doing it consistently. वो जो आप बोल रहे हैं, हाँ एक change आया था, but that is for the other people who are other than defense, other government employees, because other government employees can also invest here after 55 years of age.
Ma'am, on our request is, can you please confirm it for us, because there are
I'm 100% sure.
PMR people here. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm 100% sure you can do that. Yeah, Mr. Kumar, you want to say something?
हाँ 50 इयर्स हो गया है।
ये कब से हुआ है?
ये हो गया, वो 2-3 साल हो गया। ये 50 वाले ही अब कर पा रहे हैं।
अच्छा, आप यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट पीएमआर, जो 50 इयर्स के नीचे वाले हैं।
मैम, सीनियर सिटीजन सेविंग स्कीम SCSS,
उसका 50 इयर्स कर दिया है।
हाँ, you are right, absolutely. This has been changed for PMR officers. It's not there. You have to be at least minimum age of 50. I beg your pardon. That is wrong. So if you're not yet 50, then you cannot. But over 50 years of age, you can do it.
Yeah. So we have one more question, Lieutenant Colonel Romil.
Yes, please go ahead.
Morning, ma'am. My question is regarding this cryptocurrency. With the present budget here, the crypto is going to be taxed. So what about the investment? If anybody has already done in crypto, how is going to be affected in future?
Good question. See, the clarity is still awaited on all this. Even today in the newspaper, there is this point about TDS being deducted 1% TDS. उसके ऊपर भी confusion है अभी कि उन्होंने बोला है कि जो seller है वो काटेगा, buyer है वो काटेगा 1% TDS. इन सब के ऊपर clarity awaited है. Let the finance bill be tabled. Probably we'll come to know that what is exactly come on it. जिनके ऑलरेडी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हैं, अगर वो सेल करेंगे तो आई थिंक अप्लाई तो करेगा, रूल वुड अप्लाई, बट वेदर दे विल डू इट फ्रॉम टुडे और रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव इफेक्ट स्टिल रिमेन्स टू बी सीन.
And ma'am, with the present, then in that case, is now crypto a good lucrative market to invest if it is being legalized by the government?
Absolutely. This is the good news. The good news was here that the government has come out with has whatever legislation they're going to bring about it on it. The main thing is that they've accepted it as a legal form of investment. They have not yet accepted as a legal form of currency. They've accepted it as a legal form of investment on which they are going to deduct a tax of 30% flat. So it's good news as long as you understand it. And as long as you're able to manage it, yeah, it's a good option.
And ma'am, with respect to the NFTs, how good is an investment in NFT option?
In what?
In the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens and all which are there in the market.
See, the more complicated investment sounds to you, you should invest only if you understand. So if you are able to understand what it talks about, this is what is always my driving point, that unless you understand a particular investment, you should not be doing it there. So अगर आपको NFD में समझ आ रहा है कुछ की क्या किसकी बात कर रहे हैं, तभी आप उसमें invest करें.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Commander Raghavendra has another question. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sure.
Ma'am, now with the clarification on senior citizens savings scheme that it's not available to those who are below 50, what is the best alternate savings option for those who are below 50?
So what is the lock-in period that you would be comfortable with?
5 years.
If you are looking at 5 years, then possibly you can invest into a bond, which would give you similar kind of returns, or a little lower, or even a balanced advantage kind of a fund or a multi-asset fund would help you to generate better returns. Are you also looking for regular returns? Are you speaking about senior citizen saving option in respect to the return, or are you speaking in respect to the regular return that you will get? The ROE or the regular return? What is
both? Both safety, regular return. Let me be very specific. Someone who has got a home loan running and doesn't want to pay off, what is the best way to cover the EMIs?
Right. So generating a regular source of income immediately. Correct. If you have if you can extend your lock-in to 7 years, then Government of India bonds are there, which will give you a 7.1% return. It's as close as you can get to a 7.4% return. From there, you will get a regular return. And as I said, other bonds, some return will fall a little bit, but you will get a regular return. An assured return.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Of course, MIS is also their monthly income scheme, but there you are going to get a return of only 6.6%.
Got it, ma'am. But then again, all these options are the returns are taxable.
Correct.
So we have to account for the tax also.
Yes, so possibly you should work on whatever home loan के लिए जो आपको EMI चाहिए उसमें आप फिर से work करने की कोशिश करें कि उतना पैसा अलग रख लीजिए, and बाकी को let it grow so that later on you can create an SWP for yourself. It can be worked out like that.
So, ma'am, we have 2-3 questions coming on the chat window in case you can see that. One is from Philpi, IR, and Rakesh.
Ma'am, which tax-free bond would you suggest from secondary market? I am in 30% tax category. Right. For this, you have to let your broker or your advisor know that you want to buy it. Like, tell them that you're interested in buying a tax-free bond. Not all tax-free bonds are always available for sale. It has to be tracked. Like at a given point of time, there's some tax-free bonds, 5 or 6 tax-free bonds will be available. The transaction has to be done the same day. So you have to tell that itna paise hain, this is what I can invest, and the advisor or the broker can find out a bond for you and tell you that this is what is available and you can invest there. Now these tax-free bonds could be from Indian Railways, National Highway Authority of India, and similar organizations. You mentioned that 50,000 should be invested in NPS. What's the logic behind it? And is a lump sum amount can be invested in rather than monthly deposit? And I'm still not re-employed. Okay. Logic is basically to take the tax benefit first. So if you are not re-employed, then the tax benefit possibly does not work for you. And if you do not have a pension as well. So अगर आपके पास कोई income ही नहीं है, तो tax benefit किस बात का लेना? So आपको नहीं करना चाहिए. I said in my presentation repeatedly that everything depends from person to person. So maybe for this reason, NPS does not suit you. But having said that, if you want to create another retirement corpus for you, then possibly investing 50,000 rupees per annum is a small amount. While giving you a tax benefit, it can also create a corpus for you. Why not more than 50,000 is also a question a person can ask, because there is a lock-in for till the age of, now it has been extended to 70 years of age. So there's a lock-in there before you can take a regular pension out of it. So your money gets illiquid compared to a mutual fund investment. You can create the same kind of corpus through a mutual fund. And also when you take from an NPS, the returns are taxable. So that is why you should not invest it. So you have to take a call. So there's no logic behind it. Basically, if it suits you, you should go for it. If it doesn't, then you should avoid it.
Thank you, ma'am.
What is the duration of a senior citizen scheme? Can it be renewed? Yeah, the duration is about 5 years and it can be renewed in a tranche of 3 years. By 3 years, you can keep renewing it. But at the time of renewal, then you should be eligible for that age. It cannot happen that you've done it at 50 and at 55, you're again trying to do it. It may not happen. You'll have to wait till 60 then. What is the best institution to do a Cfpo? Oh, wow, I love that question. It's congratulations, you're planning to take up something which is very interesting, a certified financial planner's course. The best institute, actually, there are no earmarked institutes to do the training. They're all they're self-styled coaching centers. FPSB USA is the one which is handling this. That is Financial Planning Standards Board of USA. If you do the CFP course, you are also eligible to go and work in US. You do not need an additional degree. You can study yourself. The material is available. You can study yourself and give these exams. It comes in 5 papers have to be given. Or you can attend a CFP coaching institute, like one is available, is being done by, I think, Indian Institute of Financial Management. That is located somewhere near ITO. You can possibly contact them. Or you can get in touch with me. I'll give you more addresses.
So much, ma'am.
I need about 1 CR next year for my son's education. Any advices in terms of loan, etc.? Yes, it depends that what kind of course is he going for? Where is he going? Do you need 1 crore only for the fees? Possibly from your words, I can understand it's a foreign course in a foreign university. You can take a loan up to 30 to 35 lakhs loan आपको मिल सकता है आसानी से. उतना education loan लेने के फायदे ये हैं कि आप you take the loan today, you take the benefit on it, you take a joint loan with your son. With your son, you take a joint loan, send him abroad. The bank will pay for that education, and for the interest earned over it, you can completely knock it off from your taxable income, and your son can repay it later when he gets a job. So definitely it's a better option to take a loan rather than using all your corpus. After taking a loan, also you might have to deploy some of your corpus. Does it answer the question, I hope? Could you elaborate on advance tax and interest on it? Right. So advance tax, as I said, is the tax which is paid in advance on your estimated income. It is paid 4 times, eligible to be paid 4 times in a year, but the clock starts from April of the beginning of the financial year. So for the April to June quarter, you will pay in June. But the catch point is you do not pay for only the income which you're going to earn from April to June. You should take the whole income into account, then calculate it and pay it. So there are 3 subsections there, 234A, B, and C. Each of them has a different purpose that it serves. So it has been the actual advance tax which you are eligible to pay. If you do not pay, then also there's an interest. If you pay the actual advance tax late, then also there is an interest. And thirdly, if you fail to file your return any time from after 1st of April, then also you pay. So which is not possible to file your return after 1st of April. So possibly we cannot avoid the advance tax altogether. The interest altogether, but you can minimize to a large extent. How can you invest in foreign? Sorry, please go ahead.
How much is the interest that you have to pay on the advance tax if it is not paid in time?
It's about 1% per month.
Okay.
how can we invest in foreign markets and currency? One way to invest in foreign markets, a good way, is to choose a good mutual fund, which is investing into global markets. There are fund of funds which collect the money from here in rupees and invest into these shares of these different foreign indexes. It could be NASDAQ, it could be any other index in the world. You can choose which index you want to invest in. And for that, specifically, some mutual funds have been designed like that. That is one way to invest there. In currency, sorry?
Can you recommend any mutual fund like this in which we can, other than the FANG, like the Mirai Asset and all, can you recommend few mutual funds?
That won't be correct on my part to recommend on an open forum. Technically, I am a CFP and I should not be doing it. But still, there are some funds like, I am not saying that you should go and invest there, but the funds which are available are by ICICI, that's a US blue chip fund. There is by Motilal Oswal, a NASDAQ fund. Again, I'm not saying these are the best ones to invest, but these are options. So you can choose one way to invest. Many investment funds like flexi-cap funds are also having a portion of investment going into global funds. Right now, there is some regulation from RBI. Recently, it has happened where they have put an embargo on the amount of investment which can be done into global funds. So more clarity is awaited there also.
Hi, ma'am. I have taken premature retirement at the age of 48. So can I go for this senior citizen scheme? Can I invest in that? Because
you cannot.
It has to be after 60.
After 50.
After 50.
Yeah, but then also that rule will kick in that, it should be even after 50, it has to be within 3 months of your retirement date. That will still remain. The rule will remain.
Oh, no, that has already gone.
Yeah, so it's okay, but I mean, don't lose heart. There are many other options where you can put your money.
So is it something like those who have taken premature retirement at the age of 50 or thereafter? Is it like that? Or it is from the date of premature retirement till you apply for this, it has to be 3 months of, and your age should be more than 50.
Sorry, please come again. Can you ask the question once more? I'm so sorry.
I'm a little confused that is this the age retirement one? I understood that it is more than 50 years of age you can apply for it. And second thing, you mentioned that 3 months of duration has to be there from your date of premature retirement and that you take the scheme.
Okay. See, actually the senior citizen saving scheme is for people over the age of 60 years. Okay?
Right.
There is a special relaxation for the defense people in which even if you are at the age of 50, you can apply for it. So that is one criteria.
Okay.
Okay. Now, a senior citizen, defense retiree cannot invest anytime they want. They can only invest their retirement corpus. मतलब जो उनको retirement की तरह जो corpus मिला है, वो उसी को सिर्फ invest कर सकते हैं इसमें, उसी का part कर सकते हैं. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि retirement के कुछ महीनों बाद या सालों बाद suddenly you wake up to the fact कि I should be treated like a senior citizen, so I should be allowed to invest there. So that is why there is a sub rule in it, sub criteria, which says that even if you retire, assuming you retire at the age of 50 plus, you are eligible and you are a defense personnel, you can invest there, but you have to invest within the 3 months period is over from the date of your retirement or 1 month of your receipt of your retirement benefits, whichever comes earlier.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So
already
that
crossed that limit.
Till that time only you will be treated as a senior citizen. And I do know that if you are premature retiring, many times your money funds do not come. So it becomes difficult to invest here because the bank or the post office is going to ask for a copy of your PPO and also the bank statement.
Right, ma'am.
That's a mandatory requirement.
Right. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
If all MFs and banks are finally investing in stock market, then is it not advisable to learn stock markets and invest yourself? Yes, why not? You should do that. You should enroll for a stock market investment course and do it. That would be best. But only the negative parts here are one, you will have to devote full time to that, and you have a career to follow to also pursue. So you may not be able to give it that much time. There are people in mutual funds who are highly paid just to do the research. There are huge teams, there are regulations who are looking after the market. They're tracking it day in, day out. So we cannot compete with them, one. Second, we cannot manage our own greed and fear. So it will become very difficult to hold on to an investment when we especially see it bleeding. So that becomes difficult. So if you are able to do all these two things, then definitely you should go ahead and do it. Yes, serving personnel can also invest into NPS and get a tax benefit of 50,000. That doesn't matter. There are 2 tiers. You can definitely go for it. Any other question that I may answer?
I think, ma'am, there is one question: is venture capital an investment?
Yes, why not? If I don't know, you must be seeing Shark Tanks. Recently, you must have all been watching Shark Tanks on Sony TV, I think. They all are investors. They are investing into good startups or good companies which they feel there is a potential. So you can do that. If you have identified a good startup, why not? As I said, today what is happening is that there are investors are spread over two ends. On one side of the spectrum are people who are too secured. On the other side, people are there, oh, let me take risks, let me generate better returns. It again depends on you. If you feel that you can take that kind of investment, take it on, then why not? But for me, I would rather keep it more simple. Remember that the retirement corpus is something which is your life's hard earnings, and it is like a trust. It is a trust for your family as well. So please be careful when you handle that.
What happens to all this investment in case the person who has invested dies? Does the lock-in period kick in? Is all the money transferred immediately? What happens to all that?
So when you say investments, are you speaking about mutual funds per se, or you're speaking about all investments?
No, I'm speaking about all the investments. Whatever investments I've done with my money, in case I die, when and how does all this come back?
Okay, thank you so much for asking that question. It's very important these days. We recently had in the last Wednesday, the Wednesday which is gone, we had a very important webinar on wills and estate planning. You must see that recording is going to be soon uploaded on my YouTube channel. You must definitely see that. It will answer a lot of questions. Meanwhile, to answer you, firstly, whenever you invest, be very clear about the nominations. Whatever nominations you want to do, you must do it very carefully. Make a will, because nomination is not going to be a sure sign of the assets going correctly to a person. The third thing is, if something happens to you, firstly, what is going to happen is that you must, so I'll take a little time to answer this question. You must make a record of whatever investments you've done. Share it with your family member, your spouse. Let them know that what investments are where, so that nothing is missed out. Next is that the first thing that the person has to do is, after a person's demise, is go to that particular investment. If it's a bank, go and inform the bank, give a death certificate, and the investments there's a process, it will be transferred. Sometimes the bank, if the nomination is not there, the bank might ask for a succession certificate. So that is required. For mutual funds also, there is a death certificate and there's a process involved. They have to be informed that so-and-so person is no more. And then all the mutual fund units will get transferred to the nominee's name. This is called transmission of units. A new folio is created and all the units will get transferred to the nominee, and then the nominee can buy or sell. Till the units are transferred to the nominee's name, their transmission is complete, they will not be able to sell it. So first thing, make a will, write nominations. Wherever you invest, insist on a proper nomination. Third, make a record. Fourth, please guide your family members how important and what is the process to do this. So like many people, like taking an example, few people have named us as their executors in their will, because we are holding their investments, so they have put us, and we make sure that everything gets transferred smoothly.
Thank you.
Avenues to park funds and get some returns too. Oh yeah, I've already discussed all this. So you must get in touch with me if you want more details, particular details suited to yourself. But generalized, I have already spoken about it. Peer-to-peer lending, what is the risk? Right. Actually, peer-to-peer P2p lending or peer-to-peer lending is a new concept, relatively new concept, not very new, but relatively new. See, what is happening is, in the absence of good returns on assured products, people have started looking for alternate investment options. So because the fixed deposits and the postal schemes or the bonds are not giving that good returns, so many people have started looking for alternate investments in the debt space. So P2P lending is one of those. There are others like credit investing also. Structured credit products are also there. Where what happens is, in P2P, what is happening is that you are giving money to somebody and it is being managed, it is being regulated in a framework, and that money is being lended to somebody else. So the interest that is coming is after that person, the intermediary has kept a little margin. Whatever is there is going to come back to you as a return. So it's kind of assured till the person who has taken the loan would default. So that is why the risk is dependent on the person who's taken it. So I would not say it is without risk. There is a risk. It's again better to go for regulated products, but yeah, for the return, higher return, if you feel you can take the risk, you can go here. This is one of the products, alternate products. Ma'am, please share some background about BK. Where is the office? Who all are handling? What all you deal in, etc. Okay, right. So I didn't speak much about myself because we had shared a small flyer, but who doesn't like speaking about themselves? So more than you want to listen about me, I would love to speak about myself. BK is a company which was established almost 30 years ago. This was established by late Wing Commander Bhargav, who also happened to be my father. I have been working since the last 15 years in this company. We take care of investments. Other than investments, we do financial planning for people. We do income tax filing, income tax related other issues. So we do accounting, we do GST also. Like if you start a business tomorrow and you want accounting to be done or audit to be done, we also take care of that. We help you to invest into mutual funds, bonds, insurance if you require, and similar products. When we do financial planning on the basis of whatever inputs you give us, and then the investments are not limited only to what we offer. We also ask you to do other things which are beneficial for you. So where are we located? We are located at Subroto Park, Delhi Cant, in the Air Force campus. That is Arjun Path is there. You must have heard about Air Force Golden Jubilee School. I'm just right opposite that on the main campus, and we've been there since the last 30 years. Please share how your company can help retirees in investment, the process and charges involved. Okay. The company, we can help you to, firstly, we would want you to give your requirements. As I said, everything we do, there's a system there. So we have a form which is also available on my website. Once you fill those details up, we have a one-to-one meeting with you also. And then on the basis of that, we create a plan which helps you to invest on the basis of your requirement of funds, your horizon of investment, your particular risk profile. On the basis of that, the plan is created. It is discussed with you. We would want your wife and you to be on board with us when we discuss it. That can happen in my office. It can happen on Zoom. Once we've discussed and once your questions have been answered, we help you to execute the plan, which could be online or offline through our office. And once the investments are done, our job is to monitor it, review it on a half-yearly basis. The investments which are suggested to you are done with a proper research which we have in place. We are getting the data from Morningstar kind of websites. And on that, we have our own system of research, which we can share with you. It is completely unbiased, and on the basis of that, and when we see that there's a market movement or anything, we contact you. A relationship manager is allotted to you. You have an access to our, regular inputs on taxes or investments and other things which keep happening in the market. You also have an access to our unique app, which is available on iOS and Android. So these are the things that we offer to you. The charges depend on to, if you want us to just make a plan for you, then we will be charging anything between 5,000 to 10,000. If you want us also to manage your portfolio, then we would be refunding 50% of this. Your income tax return will be filed complimentary from us, because not because it's a freebie, but because I would like to streamline it. Post retirement, it needs to be streamlined properly. So that we would be doing complimentary for you. We can invest for you, and we can charge on two ways. We can either invest and take brokerages from the fund houses, or we can work on a model where you will have to pay us a fee, which depends from anything between 0.4% of the invested amount to 0.7 or 0.8 actually. So that is what are our charges.
Ma'am, do you do it only for the ex-servicemen, people, or others also?
We do it for everyone. I don't only have retired people. I have people who's, who have retired long back, on which their children are there. We have corporates, we have serving officers.
Okay.
we have doctors, we have some professors, we have lawyers, we have pilots on board with us.
Okay, fine. Ma'am, can we have your number, please? I mean, if you can,
yeah,
you're
sure.
comfortable and share it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just ask. If Rishabh, can you share that number?
Thank you.
What about outstation people? Yes, since we are doing everything online, which I've already mentioned to you, right from the planning stage to discussion to investment to review, everything is online. In fact, today I can safely say that almost 60 to 70% of our work is being done online, whether it is taxes or it is investments, all are online.
So, yeah, we got your number, ma'am, and we have exceeded 1.5 hours of your time. So do you have anything else to share?
Yes, so winding up, I would just like to share that, in this is a large corpus, relatively large corpus that you've ever handled in your life. Needs to be taken care of because a lot depends on it. Sorry for that. Right. So a lot depends on that. As I was saying, your children, you may be having small children who still need to be settled for their education. Maybe somebody is older and their daughter has to got married. You have to buy a house. So be careful when you invest. Be careful of misinformation and mis-selling. When you go and speak to somebody, many times, like I had brought out that example, many times investment options are sold to you as a very fancy product, bundled into something which is so attractive and very difficult for any normal person to actually refuse. So read more on it, do your research well, and once you have done your research well, do not be in a hurry to get out of the investment. If you have taken a call after so much due research, it makes sense to hold on to it. So I would like to, and I would also say, this is all finance that we spoke about. Last parting thing is that retirement is actually a time to actually enjoy. This is the time when you're going to be away from the clock. Do have a great time. This is what we have been doing. I find that our lives have changed after my husband retired. You can do what you want, do when you want. So just go ahead and do it. And if you have any other queries, you can please message us. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. We will be putting up this recording there. You can follow us on Facebook. I keep having these kind of regular webinars. One very important webinar that I would want to have is what is the right time and right time to enter and exit the market, or some similar kind of things that we will be having in the future. So that's it from my side. Anything else from your side, I would be happy to answer.
I think we don't have much questions coming up, and everything has been answered. It was such a wonderful webinar you conducted for us. A word about BK associates, ma'am, which you missed out: your vision, your mission, and your purpose. So let me read it out for the participants.
Okay.
The vision of BK is to reach out to provide convenient and value-based services to all, irrespective of their location. The mission is we believe in clients' interests being paramount, and towards this, we ensure complete satisfaction of the client. I repeat, complete satisfaction of the client. And the purpose is to be known as a firm that makes them and maintains a relationship rather than making only customers. So going back to your purpose, making a relationship than just the clients. So thanks a lot for your valuable time. We've already crossed 1 hour 40 minutes, and still we want to go on because investment and handling your corpus is such a thing wherein we are there is a gap, and we need to bridge that gap because being in defense, we are not aware about all the investments. Most of them are not aware. There are few people who are very good at it. So thanks a lot, ma'am, for your time and effort which you had given this morning, this Sunday morning. And it was really, really wonderful to interact with you. On behalf of IIM Indore and MDI Gurgaon and the defense fraternity, in fact, we touched more than 75 at one time. And people who could, who had other commitments, so they had to log out. So thanks a lot for, giving this Sunday morning, which was really fruitful coming from you. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure addressing such a big gathering. It's completely my pleasure.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you for sparing this time for all of us.
Thank you.
I can vouch for it, ma'am, for the benefit of everyone. I retired in 2018. And since then, I've been taking advice, and I'm, proud and satisfied client of ma'am. So, that comes from direct from my heart. Thank you so much, ma'am.
No, that's you being so kind. Thank you so much for that testimonial. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. So we'll call it off a day, ma'am, in case you have anything other than that.
No, I have nothing. Have a great day and a great retirement. I wish you all the success and your family all the happiness and good health.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good day.
Ma'am.
Yeah.